Mark Hunt, the Super Samoan, welcome to my podcast.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on, Dom.
Mate, I'm really excited. You came onto my radar. I had Dan the Hangman Hooker on the podcast maybe a month ago, and your name came up. He told a funny story about you, and I thought, Mark Hunt would be a great guest. We were messaging backwards and forwards. I offered to fly you to Auckland. I offered to fly to Sydney. And then you were like, no, let's just do it remotely. So here we are. I'm in studio. You're sitting in your car.
Yeah.
And you got.
My ex has got a meeting inside the house, and I can't really disturb their meeting. I was part of it, but I told them I had to leave for the Dom Harvey podcast, and they said okay.
Well, I'm pleased we've connected. So you're sitting in your car, you're nice and relaxed, and you can't see this on camera, but you've got a pair of Adidas sneakers on the dashboard, and your phone's leaning against that.
Yes, sir.
I love that so much. Hey, so the Super Samoan, also another nickname, King of the Walk-Off. For anyone that's listening to this, because I've got a very broad audience to the podcast, for anyone that's not into combat sports, what does that mean exactly? What's a walk-off?
I have no idea. I think I got the nickname from the UFC, John Anik, the commentator John Anik. So I think it's that's where you knock someone out and walk off. But that's what he gave me. So it is what it is, right?
Yeah. So I've watched a whole lot of like YouTube videos of sort of your like greatest hits in the lead up to this. And it's almost like before the refs even called the fight off, like you hit someone and you know you've got the job done. Joseph Parker used to do that, and people say he didn't have the killer instinct because had like hold back the last couple of maybe necessary punches. But how do you know it's game over and job done?
Well, I've been a striker for a long time. My background is stand-up striking, and I've been pretty competent at it. That's why I've had a career as long as I have to feed my family. So, like every top-end athlete, I think, you've done it, millions of times repetitively. So, when you're doing it for striking stand up, when you hit someone, you've hurt them. That's what you've done. But with MMA, you have also to follow up and finish them. So, I just never did that because sometimes you just know, like I said, when I hit someone, I know they're done.
Yeah, is it an act of compassion or what?
Well, you can call it whatever you like. Call it whatever you like, man. I don't care. It's just, I just like I said, when I've been fighting before, when I hit someone, that's it. I know that he's done. So that's it.
Yeah, fair enough. Sorry, I'm just overthinking it. So at the moment, you're how old are you? You're 50 years old, 51 years old.
I'm 50 years old. I'm 51 in March. Yeah.
And you're still going as well. You're training at the moment for a bare knuckle fight. How do you train for a bare knuckle fight?
Well, I don't know about if I'm still going. I'm looking at fighting in September, right? I'll probably be part owner of that company by that time. And then the fight will probably be for free. I as a prize fighter, like I said, God's put me to be a prize fighter, and not knowing that what my life would be, would end up like this. The pinnacle of my life is I fought my hardest battle, which was the fight against UFC, which is already complete now. So for me as a prize fighter, my end goal is walking out to a stadium. We've all watched Gladiator. You watch Gladiator too. When he walks out and he's fighting there for his freedom as a slave, he goes, are you not entertained? For me as a fighter to walk out to fight for my freedom, the narrative of Mark Hunt has changed. The narrative of me fighting for money is totally different to what it is now. So when I walk out there, I'll be one of the wealthiest men in the world, part owner of that company, and my narrative won't be I won't have to fight for money. The narrative will be I fight because I love to compete. And as a fighter, walk out into a stadium with so much history. Imagine all the slaves that died there for their freedom. That is, for me, that's absolute history. And it's like the cream of the crop. They're doing that, and on your own terms. And that as a prize fighter is my end goal. I love it. And I'll be 51 years of age. And it was a sort of a toss-up, but I promised my manager, a friend of mine, Gabriel, that I'll do that. And that's what I'm going to do. So, like I said, as a prize fighter, for my end game is to walk out there on a different narrative of Mark Hunt, and to walk out there to so much history of blood and slaves fighting for their freedom, and to end it on that note.
And you mentioned just before that the fight, the long-running fight with the UFC's over now. Yeah, so you were the New Zealand's first UFC star. You were in the UFC from 2010 to 2018. Your walkout in UFC Adelaide, where you had like a group doing a haka behind you, is seen as one of the best walkouts of all time. What happened with the UFC? It's been really, really public, over the years.
Yeah, it has. It was also been a real hard slog. You know, I've had a lot of ups and downs with it. I've had criminal lawyers. I've had crooked lawyers. I've had, you know, the tolling and the years and years of you know, people, you know, hammering me and talking shit. They're like, I've got CT and all this sort of stuff. When the actual truth is, and it's actually facts. There's not an inference, you know, in law and an inference in Australia or New Zealand, they say maybe. But in American law, they call it an inference. They base an inference off facts. You know, when the judge is asking you an inference about someone telling lies, he's talking to you about facts that he's read. So it's been a long-standing battle of steroids, of me fighting guys that are on steroids. And for me, you know, realizing and knowing and saying, okay, I said to Dana and these clowns a long time ago, every time I fought a steroid guy, whether I'd won or lost, I've said to Dana, can you do something about it? You know, and every time Dana said to me, oh, it's up to USADA, it's up to these guys that do it. They're the ones that have the policy. So yeah, like, you know, you have to ask me specific questions about this whole thing, because, you know, I can go on all day. I spend all day with you, and I could, you know, like I became a pro se litigant. Like do you know what a pro se litigant is?
No, what is that?
So you know, I'm not a lawyer, but the Ninth Circuit is a court in America, is the one that they made me a pro se litigant. So I had to be the lawyer. So that was my biggest battle against the UFC. And the case that I've got is a one-off case. It's a civil RICO case. Do you know what RICO stands for?
No, I feel like I'm sitting a law exam here.
Okay, so RICO is, you know, well, you must know Al Capone, right? All those old-time gangsters, right?
Yes.
You've seen those movies.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so they brought in the RICO statute in America for those gangsters. So what happened was, with any sort of crime syndicate, there's a family. There's the head, there's two underbosses, there's their sergeants and all the rest of these, and then there's all the flunkies. So with RICO, well, they couldn't get the top bosses who make all the money, the bosses of the crime syndicate. So what happens was, well, they brought in the RICO statute. It's the lower level parts of that group. And those are normally the groups that'll snitch on the boss, because they tell on the bosses, and that brings that whole faction down. But what RICO also does, whatever they own, brings it into the eyes of the law. So whatever they've made, whatever they own, brings into the eyes of the law, that the law can take.
Right.
So with the UFC, the reason it's a RICO case, because multiple entities colluded together for one purpose, right? And they're an international group. So what tied this whole thing together, especially with Dana White, is when they sold this company for $4 billion. What tied Dana White to this is he made $600 million off this. Do you understand?
Yes.
So there was a group of people that colluded together for a common purpose. And that was to make money, to sell their company to make money.
Yeah, your feud with Dana White has been like very, very open and very public. I've actually got like a few quotes here from Dana White, starting in 2013 and going to 2023. 2013, this is a text that got leaked from Dana White. Mark Hunt is a fuckhead. Let's bury him. 2016, in an interview, Until the day that this is like complete opposite. Until the day that guy doesn't want to throw a punch anymore, he's with me. I love Mark Hunt, and then 2023, Mark Hunt is a bit of a delusional guy. He's going to have to pay some legal fees. So, it's been. It's been very courageous of you, because I can't imagine how exhausting this whole thing's been over so many years. And, you're challenging someone that's got like very, very deep pockets. Yeah. If you saw him face to face now, say you're in line at, Wild Bean and he came in and was behind you, what would the conversation be? What would you do? Could you hold yourself back from hitting him?
I wouldn't waste my time. I know how these guys roll. I know how these corporate guys work. So, I don't think as soon as he sees me, he'll probably run the other way. But the problem he has is with RICO, after every civil RICO contravention comes a criminal contravention. Do you understand what I mean? Mm. So with a civil case, it has to have criminal implications to be an approved civil lawsuit. You cannot have a civil case without criminal implications. So what I'm saying is, from the civil case will come a criminal case. So all these guys that I just explained to you, colluded together for one purpose, are going to jail. and P. Diddy's going to get that baby oil to bum these fuckers. That's it. And that's the bottom line. Pardon my fucking French. That's all.
No worries. No, we had a chat just before we started recording, and you said you've done a few podcasts before, and most of them haven't been released. But I'll release this as is, where is, unless you want anything taken out.
No. Like, please do yourself a favor, and before the whole world knows, to release it, because when the judges mandate what I'm telling you, it's going to be mandated in law. The thing is, we've already won that case. And how I know this is because when I argued the oral argument on November the 20th, I think it was, I realized that Judge Rawlinson, she's the one that said, she actually spoke about it and said, no, that's the battery. We're speaking about the fraud you guys did. So when a judge says that, that means, because battery is the predicate act. Predicate act is the act that starts it. So that's battery. So she approved this.
We got you?
Hey, sorry about that. My phone overheated. Yeah, sorry about that. It overheated because the sun's beaming right into the fucking. I'm like, oh shit, it's overheated. Probably just goes, holy shit, I can't handle what this guy's saying. My phone overheated, but it's back now. So what I was saying, where was I? I was talking about the predicate act. Mm-hmm. So the predicate act was battery. So I've got 11 contraventions, civil conspiracy, aiding and abetting, fraud. I've got 8 of them. So if the battery act, if battery is the predicate act, it was approved, that means the rest is approved. Do you understand?
Yes.
So that means the whole case is being won. It just needs to be mandated into law, and we're just still waiting for that decision from the Ninth Circuit.
What sort of toll has this taken on you, personally and emotionally? Like, I'm guessing this is tougher than any fight you've ever had in a ring or an octagon.
It has been. It's been the hardest fight of my life, to be honest. And, I think only God can put something on someone for him to do, and know he can come through and pull through and do it all. And because no one else could have done this but me. I swear, the things that this case has put me through is ridiculous. It's been so hard, man. Honestly, if I'd realized, it's actually probably a good thing, like I said, to put your family into harm's way for others, mm-hmm. Not for your benefit, for others, to make things even, say something about, for me, I just say, I think God just puts the person to do these things because he knows that that person can do that. Yeah. I don't think anyone else could have ever done this because, that's probably why it's going to be called the Hunt precedent.
Oh, that would be so awesome. That's like Muhammad Ali had a clause named after him, didn't he, in the sport of boxing?
It's called the Ali Act.
Yeah.
So that lawsuit was just one. So, with that lawsuit, I think those lawyers are criminals. You know, they're just criminals anyway. But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, so that act is called the Ali Act. This lawsuit will be called the Hunt precedent. So right now, any person can go and sue another person that's a fighter or has been caught with steroids. He can sue them. The statuted claim for battery in America is $350,000 US. But it's not that, for me, it's not, if you look at it, it's not just because the number is 350,000. You times that by the amount of sports events that the cheaters have won. You times that by the amount of years. There's got to be some sort of limit of limits of stopping this, because the tolling of this will be huge.
Why did you choose to make this the hill that you die on? Like in terms of picking this battle and not letting it go. In terms of like drug cheating in the sport, like the path of least.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
No, I think like the easiest path for you to take would be to just accept it's bullshit, feel disgruntled about it, and just get on with your life. But instead, like you've been like a dog with a fucking bone with it.
Well, pretty much, biggest fucking dog in the world. But it's actually, for me, I like I explained to you earlier, Dom, is like I said to this is pretty much like workplace bullying. Just because I'm a prize fighter, it doesn't mean my work differs. I still suffer from, a mental capacity as a fighter. You've got to have that mental capacity to be stronger and go through these things while you're competing. Just because my work is different from yours, it doesn't mean your boss can bully you like they've done to me. That is exactly what it is. This is exactly like a workplace bullying situation. But the difference here is they've all, the different companies like USADA and all these companies have colluded together for that common purpose of making that money. It would have been easy just to say, Mark, and that was, when I thought I could have just been quiet and just clicked a contract and, made another $10 million or whatever the fuck it was and moved on with my life and my kids would be happy. Years ago, my ex-wife said to me, Mark, why did you do this to us? And situations like that, I sit there and worry about this whole scenario. I sit there and said, man, and that's when I sit there and I get on my knees and I pray to God. I said, man, God, what's happened here? You've left me, you've forsaken me. What the hell's happened here? And this is in between that 7 years that the lawyer lied to me. People laugh at me, people mock me. You get all these trolls online saying you got CTE, all this rubbish. And the truth is, I'm not here talking to someone that's very articulate. I have not got CTE. I know I know everything about the situation. It would have been just as easy, like you said, to just walk away, get a paycheck and live on with my life. But that's just not the type of person I am. If I see a wrong, I'm going to go and fix it. I don't care at what cost. If it's like black and white, if that's how simple it is, that's how simple it is to me. If I see you doing wrong, I'll tell you. And if I have to try and fix it, like I said to Dana White so many times, bro, cuz, do something about it. These guys are cheating. Oh, you won the fight. I don't give a fuck, cunt. Fuck you. My hand's broken because of that fucking cheating piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do something about it. Oh, it's up to you, Sada, Mark. But then later on, as you go along along the lawsuit, you realize that USADA is part of this coercion, this collusion. They're part of it, and you think, "Oh my God, you filthy motherfuckers!" You know what I mean?
I know exactly. I know exactly what you mean. And it feels like you were standing up to the bully, which is it's a hard thing to do. If this gets clipped up and Dana White happens to see it, what would you like? Is there anything you'd like to say to him?
I can tell you right now, all he's doing right now is worried about going to jail. He's got his, when the hammer drops for them, the hammer drops. And he knows it's coming. He 100% knows he's coming because even his lawyer, Colby Williams, is throwing him under the bus. Right now, from what I've seen from the lawsuit, that the owner of UFC, Ari Emanuel, knows that this guy has done all this stuff to him. He knows that Dana White has done all these these acts towards him. And I don't know why he doesn't just get rid of him, but I think there's something else in that contract with him. So he has to wait for the judges to mandate this into law so he can get rid of him. And that's when he can say, well, the insurance is going to cover their problem. The problem that Dana White cost him. So like I told you, this civil lawsuit will be the second highest civil lawsuit in history, which will make me one of the wealthiest athlete ever in history, the wealthiest fighter ever in history. Did you hear what I just said?
Sure did. What would that mean? Who's the current wealthiest fighter in history? Is that McGregor?
They're not even close to this kind of wealth. They're not even close. Not even close. If I just told you earlier, if the highest civil lawsuit for this was 216 billion, this will be the second highest, and McGregor is worth $1 billion. What does that tell you?
Even without this, how are you now? Have you done okay financially out of the sport?
No, this has cost me a fucking arm and a leg. Like I said, I've had to go to the, I don't know. I'm going to tell you it anyway, because fuck these banks. They're fucking criminals. The banks, I've had to plead hardship for nearly, I don't know how long now. Hardship to the banks so they can't come and kick my family out of the house. But banking law says that if you tell the bank, if you keep in contact with the bank that your situation has changed, they have to talk to you. So long as you're communicating with them, telling them your situation, they can't come and evict you from their property. That's banking law. That's some of the things I've had to learn going through all this rubbish that these motherfuckers put me through. These people like Dana White and all these crooked criminals had to put me through this, or putting this false narrative that I have CT and all this rubbish. But these are the things I've had to go through. I've had to sell nearly everything. I've had to borrow money. This shit really, really annoys me. And you know what? And fuck these guys. I tell that how it is, and that's the truth. That is the bottom line about this whole fucking situation. That's why people don't probably get into lawsuits like this, because emotionally and mentally it takes a toll. Financially it takes a toll. At the end of the day, it's whoever's. And the sad thing about this for me is my family has to sit on this waka with me, regardless of what happens, whether it went good or not. They had to come on this journey, whether I had won this journey or not. They had no choice. And that's something I should have spoken to my ex-wife about it and my family about it before I actually did it. But me, I'm an Aries. I'm a bull out of the gate. I'm straight out the gate. If you want to rumble, I'm fucking rumbling. Come on, And that's the problem when you're so pig-headed and you don't see straight until it's too late. But like I said, I have 100% in my faith in the God and what this is, the challenges of life with this whole scenario. And all the people that benefit from this, is equality of sport in any sport. They can understand that they can go to a sport competition, whether it be rugby league, and know that that person is the same like them, not enhanced by drugs and everything. That's what they can 100% know, because the 100% guarantees that, because otherwise you can just sue them straight away. Give me $350,000, blah, 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 the whole shebang.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for sharing that stuff. It's interesting to get an insight from your perspective, because this shit's been going on for a very long time.
Well, I did say to you, 7.5 years, my lawyers were corrupted. It took me, nearly 8 years to find that out. And then when I actually started to bite the bullet and change the way things were, it's taken 2 years to bring it back to the way it was. November the 20th, I had an oral argument as the pro se litigant in that case. If you watch that oral argument online, 100% won the case. So all we're waiting for now is just the judges to mandate the hunt precedent into law. Right now, I think I explained everything to you about this. Right now, anyone that's caught cheating, that's blocking you from winning, you can sue them. In America, that statutory claim is $350,000 US.
Yeah. Oh, good on you, Mark. Thanks for sharing that. Hey, I've got some other that we can draw a line in the sand with the UFC and move on from that for now, because there's so much more to your story to talk about. Funny story. So, do you know Dan Hooker very well?
Like I said, I know most of the fighters, especially us Kiwi ones and Australian ones. I'm 100% support of all the fighters. I know. I don't know him like intimately. Like I think he's a great fighter, and he's like me. He's like he's got no quit in him. He's like he's a real fighter.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because I had Dan on the podcast about a month ago, and he told a funny story about you. I don't know if you saw the clip on Instagram or anything. But I think the question was something like, what's the funniest thing you've seen behind the scenes at UFC? And he told a story about being backstage on the same card as you. Your trainers told you to get up and do some kicks. Apparently you sighed and rolled your eyes. You got up and you kicked this bag about 6 or 7 times, and then you were like, nah, I'm done. Sat back down again. Then went out and destroyed your opponent. And he said that gave him the realization that there's not one way to do it. You can do it your way. And that was his takeaway from you, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I mean, everyone operates differently, and everyone's different. I mean, that's not probably the standard for people, but
you didn't like wasting your energy, or?
Well, no, for me, I've realized, for this whole, I'm the captain of the ship. The Mark Hunt, Mark Hunt's a fighter. I'm the captain. Everyone under me gets paid off me. So if we've done all the work beforehand, and I feel a bit like this, we'll do it how I want, and that's it. So I mean, like I said, you ask anyone else that does it, it's different. So probably people just, people always bag me about not training as hard as this and that, but that story, that's exactly me in a nutshell anyway. So
yeah, as long as you get the job done, it doesn't matter how, does it? Another something I didn't even realise, I missed this completely being in NZ, but you had a fight with Sonny Bill Williams, and you I watched that online yesterday. So this was one of your final fights, and it was a 4th round win. You got him pretty good.
Yeah, like I said, I've explained to you the whole situation with the launch that I had to make money. They called me when I was on the couch, and of course I'm a prize fighter. I'm gonna go and make some money. It was, even though they fucking ripped me off, the pieces of shit. So end of the day, I went and got my money and did a job, and that's it. Even though they fucking they done a number on me.
Does it hurt when Sonny Bill punches, or no, not really?
Look, man, I like Sonny Bill. He's a great athlete, but it is what it is. Like, anyone that hits you, like I said, I'm a seasoned prize fighter.
What are the best and worst memories of your fighting career?
To be honest, Dom, the whole fighting career has been a nightmare because of this lawsuit. I don't have many fond memories, especially when you have to deal with crooked companies and enterprise, because they're all trying to take advantage of us. It shouldn't be me. It shouldn't be the TV paying the company, paying you getting paid the last. It should be the other around. You're the boss of whatever you're fighting company. So whoever's under you should be getting paid. It shouldn't be the management getting paid to you. So there's been a lot of disappointments with prize fighting. The biggest one was the case I just finished.
Yeah, but it seems, I don't know, this is just the perception I've got from like reading about you and watching you online. It seems like the actual fighting, but you really enjoy, like you thrive. You look at home in the ring or the octagon. Is it just the external bullshit that's put a dampener on the whole thing for you?
It is. It's dealing with crooked managers.
Yeah.
It's dealing with crooked companies, trying to shaft you of money. It's dealing with a whole lot of shit. And, amongst all that shit, you've got to go and actually train. People, what's funny, I go to some parties and they said, oh, man, they look at me and goes, man, I don't know how you do it. And I look at them and goes, what do you mean? I don't know how you do it. And they said to me, I don't know how you can be a prize or get punched in the head for a living. And I asked him, what do you do for a living? You go to work, you sit in the car for 8 hours, you go to get paid a minimum wage so you can be Go on a holiday once a year with your family? It's not me, bro. I just said, so who's the crazy one here?
Yeah, it's been good for you. Like, there's been some good wins over the years, eh? Like, I read about the K1 world title in 2001, was it? And you won you payday of like $500,000.
Well, yeah. Well, coming from really small earns to to being the world champion is someone like me. I didn't have any money. Of course, it was great to get my first work contract as a prize fighter, and being the best kickboxer in the world at the time. So, being 27 years of age, signing my first contract, even though I got ripped up, was great. Yeah.
When you reflect on the career, is there anything you wish you did differently?
No. I mean, I could have trained a lot harder, but I could have stopped smoking. I could have stopped smoking instead of 8 weeks before the world title. There's a lot of things I could have done, that I reflect on that could be different. But it is what it is, and I leave it all in God's hands, and that's it. That's where we are now. So.
And life after fighting, what do you see yourself doing over the next couple of decades?
I have a lot of plans going on. Like I said, I have a lot of things that I'm doing, especially like philanthropy. I see a lot of I've got a lot of my ex-partner was a philanthropist manager, and that's what I'll be doing, a lot of philanthropy. I've got a lot of things in my mind that I'm doing with helping with philanthropy. I want to have my own football team in the next couple of years in the NRL. I want to open my own bank There's a lot of things. I want to have my own private hospital and a private school going. So there's a lot of things I've got in the works, and they're all it's all in a matter of time. So.
Yeah, brilliant. Hey, I said on Instagram you were coming, and actually you shared it on your story as well. So I've got a bunch of questions here from Mark Hunt fans. Training schedule when you first started?
Well, I'm a big gamer, so there was no training schedule. It was just if there's a fight on, the only time I started taking it seriously was like when I moved here, when I was in Oz here, when I fought for the first Oceania in 2000. I took fights on a lot of short notice. There are hardly any training. I mean, I think my first fight was after 4 days' notice. Can I just? Yeah. Shit.
Yeah, do what you got to, man.
Yeah. So yeah. The fuck.
This is going to go down as the most chaotic podcast ever, and I'm not disappointed. I'm here for it, Mark.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
I just don't know. Yeah. So yeah, sorry about that. My son messaged me, so I had to make sure he's okay. So yeah. What were we talking about?
Just the training schedule when you first started. That was a question.
It wasn't that good. I didn't have no. It was actually pretty much my fault. But as I went along, became a pro fighter, I started doing training schedules properly and trying to do things properly. So yeah. In the start, it was not that good. I didn't want to be a fighter for my life.
Yeah.
But I think, like I said, within God, I think it was what made me a prize fighter. So yeah.
Oh, and you've been very good at it. Someone wants to know what's the most you've ever weighed.
Fuck, I'm a fat ass right now. I'm like 163 kilos. Probably, is he asking me about a fight that I had, or?
I don't know. Yeah, that's just the question. I'm just reading it out as it was sent in.
So, I mean, probably, I was probably 183 kilos. Right now, I'm 163. And I've got some bitch titties and some, big stomach. Yeah. But yeah, I'm 163 kilos now. I'm 50 years of age, but I'm excited to be getting back to training and looking after myself. I've just had a lot of, like I explained to you.
Yeah.
I've been immersed in a lawsuit that's nearly cost me my life and my family's life. So it's been very hard. But as a warrior and a fighter, I've come through with flying colors, and like I said, I'm about to get my life back and enjoy the fruits of my labor and start looking after myself, like training. So yeah. Even though I don't like training, I'm actually excited about going to do training. So yeah.
Aside from trolling people and gold star mocking skills, what other hidden talents does Mark Hunt have?
Well, I can sit on my ass for like 20 hours straight playing games. I'm a big gamer, but that's the thing though, bro. Dom, with an alter ego as a gamer, us gamers know how to troll hard. If my day is boring, I just go online and talk shit to people and say, we just have a fucking, especially online gaming, it's crazy. So, my alter ego is pretty fierce, man. It's racist. It's fierce. It's bro. It's mental.
Yeah, I mean, there's that term like keyboard warriors, but it's like,
hey, that's me.
Yeah,
that's me. I'm an actual keyboard warrior because, because I'm always on there talking shit to people.
No, but
honestly, I'm the worst troll, especially when it comes to gaming. I have a group of friends that I game with, and I just constantly troll these people. I was like, you fucking cheating. And the worst thing is cheaters, especially online. They're always cheating, these motherfuckers. I'm like, you cheating motherfucker. And you know what the funny thing is? This fucking fat piece of shit named Gaben, who actually owns Counter-Strike, he's actually in New Zealand. You should go tie that fucker up and say, I want all my fucking money back from all the money I spent on your fucking game. All the skins that I spent because you don't do something about the cheaters. Bro, Gaben, that motherfucker is in New Zealand. And you'll love him, but he could have done something because he owns that game Counter-Strike. Mm-hmm. He could have, made it so us guys don't get on the online and our gaming experience isn't toxic. It's he could have just said, I'm going to make it sure that these guys don't get cheated, because people just go online and they download hacks and they just cheat you out of your game experience. So I get really toxic when I play a gamer. I get really toxic, man.
Yeah, so sorry for laughing, but
I'm glad you had a good laugh. I'm here to make your day by laughing. Great, that's fine. Yeah.
No, I'm loving the animation and the passion. Someone wants to know, what's your favorite place in the world to visit?
It's always home. And for me, home is Australia now. But because for me, it's where my kids are, is where home is. So, Australia is the best. For me, is to be home. And I feel home here in Australia because this is my family, my kids are here. So yeah. I'll always be a Kiwi. Fucking always be a Kiwi. There's no doubt about that. But yeah.
Whereabouts in Sydney do you live?
West, Campbelltown. So Western Sydney.
Yeah. And do you still feel a connection to South Auckland?
Well, I think I spoke in another podcast about South Auckland. For me, it saddens me. But like I said, I've got, when I come back to New Zealand, I've got a lot of philanthropy I've going to do for New Zealand and what I want to do in their country, especially because what I'm going to do with the government here in Australia to start with out here. So to helping a lot of the youth, because I understand that because I'm from that. I've been to jail and I know, like her son is 16, and when the kids, get a message from the police saying, it's kind of sad, but there's 40 Africans running around machetes, please stay home. When they get messages like that, that's fucking sad. So that shows, the kind of danger that is. And for me, it's like, you take it for what it is, but like I said, the kind of things I want to do to help that is with the football team, and have something for the kids to look forward to, instead of being scared of staying home, and and also do the same thing out here in the Western Sydney. But it's a real eye opener, because I love. I'm from the ghetto. I'm a ghetto person, and I fit right into these kind of places, So for me, but to see that kind of text message to a young kid, but that's to every kid in that area to stay home, that's dangerous. There's 40 Africans running around with machetes. What the fuck? That's and I realize a lot of the cops down there, whether they're underfunded or whatever, are so fucking useless. You got to be dying before they even come out. These guys are fucking useless, I swear. But like I said, there's a lot of things that you can help with the certain situations and areas. But I'm from it. I already know what it's like down there with these sort of areas. So yeah.
Yeah, I've got a few more questions from your Instagram fans, and then with your permission, we'll talk about some of your early experiences if you're okay with that.
Hey man, I got all day to make you laugh. Fucking hell, sweet.
Oh no, there's not a lot of laughing there, mate. I'm
just fucking joking.
I didn't have after we set this interview up, I didn't have time to buy a copy of your book. It was going to take too long to write, but you can go online and get a sneak peek and read the first 25 or 30 pages for free. So I did that. Mate, I had fucking tears in my eyes. It's I felt really sad for you, the little boy Mark Hunt. But anyway, we can talk about that soon if you want.
Yeah. 12 footer. Can I just start. Can I keep talking to you? But can I drive? Because I've got to go and pick up my daughter. She's like, my girls are at school,
Yep.
but they finish early today because it is Wednesday, right?
Yeah,
So if
Wednesday.
I can just drive and keep talking to you, even that's illegal. But
Okay. On
but who's going to tell the cops? Are they?
yeah, from Instagram, someone said, I'm 17 years old. Can Mark please tell me what he thinks it means to be a man? Well, that's deep.
Well, first of all, taking accountability for what you've done. If you've done wrong, and I've done some fucked up shit. Yeah, taking accountability for what you've done, what shit you've done in your life. So, owning up to whether it be, all the shit that you've done wrong, probably as a man, and realizing that sort of shit. So yeah, did you hear that?
Yeah, just basically owning your shit. Yeah.
Taking accountability. To be honest.
What's your greatest achievement outside of fighting?
Most likely my children. My kids.
Yeah, you're a proud dad, aren't you? How many children do you have?
I have 6.
Yeah. And so you mentioned your ex a couple of times. Do you live with your ex, or are you married a second time?
I'm not married again. I'm actually. We have a relationship that I can just stay in her place. So, like I told you, we've been having a lot of issues financially, and we've finally come through all that shit. And I'm about to move to back to Sydney, and get my own place. My own place is, I think I've pretty much explained to you the whole scenario with that. So yeah.
What has been the lowest point of his life?
Dealing with this lawsuit. It's been really, really, like I said, it makes me emotional because I didn't break out in tears, but it's been really strenuous and stressful because I've had to deal with this whole scenario, while being made fun of globally. There's a toll in American law. It's called tolling. So, and the damage will start here, and until it's actually stopped. Like for this lawsuit, the damage started in 2016 when I filed this appeal, and it's come all this way to 2025. The tolling stops when the judges mandate this into law. So it'll continue and keep continuing. And it's called tolling. So when it stops is when they mandate the hunt preacher into law. Yeah.
Are you quite an emotional guy these days?
Well, these things have made me. This lawsuit is it's been a hard burden to carry, man. I've broken down by myself a lot of times, and and I've asked God for for guidance and assistance, especially with this whole scenario. It's been hard. My partner and us working together, the future sports people and sportsmen and women and fighters will not benefit from an even playing field, because at the end of the day, all this was about was an even playing field.
Yeah.
And that's what the hunt precedent creates. It creates that line in the sand where it says if you're cheating, you're getting a battery charge on your amongst other things. And it's not just. And for me, when someone takes, like, for instance, Lance Armstrong, that guy built an empire of lying and cheating to people. He even sued the people that said that brought that thing to him. And it took a while for his little facade to come down, but it came down eventually.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
But in between that damage was all the people in between that their kids don't get the benefits for. The kids that, the father can't give them the benefits that they should have, even though the number 1 to number 43 were all cheating motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all their families suffered. And it should have been the 44th guy that wasn't cheating, that his kids should have got all the benefits. But in this day and age in society, it doesn't work like that. But this is what the hunt precedent does. It evens that playing field.
So as I said, I started reading your book, Born to Fight. By the way, you got a quote from Dwayne Johnson on the cover. Do you know The Rock? How did that come about?
Well, of course, he's my cousin. No jokes. everyone, you know, I don't know him personally, like I said, and the way I feel about him now, I wouldn't want to know him. Before, it'll be different. Him being a Polynesian and outstanding person of the islands, his standards could have helped and done a lot of different things. But who am I to judge someone that's of that stature doing these things, which he could have done? But who knows? I can't judge it because I don't know him personally.
Yeah.
He tweeted me one time, and that's because he was part of the UFC, the company, and I didn't know he tweeted me until 6 months later. But and then I tweeted him back. He didn't reply.
But
the truth was, like I said, I'm not a cousin. I don't know The Rock personally, or have cousins with him. But yeah.
Well, it's pretty cool to have like a quote from him on the cover. So so your book, Born to Fight. So you just told your stories to a guy called Ben McKelvey, and
Yep.
and he sort of wrote it in your words. I've read some articles with him about the experience, and he said you had your walls up, and then after a while you managed to like break those walls down and show a bit of vulnerability, and it's one of the most raw and authentic sports books I think I've ever read. How did you learn to drop your walls?
Well, it started because there's a lot of pain and a lot of bad things that happen to us as children. But for me, if my sister wasn't, I said to Ben, I don't know much about my childhood. I don't remember much because I have an ability to block shit out. I think it's the best thing for you to do is to go speak to my sister, because she's the one that she got the most damage from this whole scenario, apart from my brother John killed himself, and my other brother Steve's got schizophrenia from this whole bunch of rubbish. So I mean, so that's how I was able to speak on stuff. Was he went to see my sister first, and then she was able to explain or speak on a lot of things, so it made it easier for me. And so how a ghostwriter works is they go and speak to different people you've mentioned, and they get their take on what happened at the time they know you. So that's it.
Yes. So your sister Victoria, who you're talking about, she's the eldest of the family, right? She's 5 years older than you.
Yes.
Yeah. So the book starts like chapter 1, first paragraph, with a passage from her. She says, "Mark was still a baby when all hell broke loose. He would be black and blue from head to toe often. I'd have to wash away the blood, massage the bruises, and put salt on his wounds so Dad could give him another hiding. At about 5, so this is when she was 10, Mark became a thief and a violent maniac. But how would he know any better? He didn't even understand what love was until he met Julie." Mate, that's just fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah, yeah, like I said, it's. I think I've made it like for me to be able to block pain out, block situations out, because that's a coping mechanism for me. Is I'm like the master of it. You know what I mean? So what I don't remember or don't remind me of, I don't have to deal with it. So it's like with fighting, like with any loss that I have. It's for me, it's easy to just fucking move on, So that's how I dealt with my childhood. Is like to block it all. So. That's why when Ben McKelvey asked me about it, I said, I don't really remember much. I remember certain things that he spoke about when it triggered me, what my sister spoke about. And then I goes, well, I do remember that. So, yeah, we just had a pretty rough go at life, with the cards we got dealt with. Well, I mean, a lot of people got dealt with the cards, but it's kind of, it's how you deal with them, to be honest. So for me, like I said, I couldn't help my sister as a young kid. But as an adult, I run into things. I'm always the person trying to stand up for everybody, for anyone.
Yeah,
that's why.
Do you think, taking on a bully like Dana White in the UFC, like, do you think part of that sort of stems like from your childhood and just not taking bullshit from bullies anymore? Now that you're able to stand up.
100%.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter. And it was like I couldn't stand up to my dad because my dad is all powerful and it even hurt him, and that's how I felt about him, because he scared the shit out of me, all of us. Like I said, I spent months without going to school because he'll batter us or batter me, and people that try to bully. It really makes me angry.
Yeah.
And I like I said, I hate people that try to stand over other people. I hate them. I absolutely hate them. And that goes with anything. You know, if you're you know, built different, if you're the powerful person or you're stronger, you're supposed to help others.
Yeah. Was it
yeah.
Was there any, like when you reflect on your childhood, was there like any glimpses of happiness at all? Like I know you were sent to Samoa for a year when you were like 4 or 5. Like was that a good time, or was there any good times?
Yeah, man. Like I said, I don't even know, you know, my family's, my brothers and sisters' birth dates. I have no clue. I only know about my mum was like a few years older than my auntie, because I just met my auntie, you know, recently, and you know, she's 85 now, and she's strong and fit as a fiddle. And the story she's been telling me about my mum makes me look at her in a different light.
Yeah,
you know, because my mum had to deal with a piece of shit father that was like a tyrant. So you know, and I said to her, why didn't you do something about it? She'd rather sit there and suffer with the rest of us. Fucking leave his punk ass, you know. And that's what's you know, what's really annoying about this whole situation and scenario, because the stuff that you hear later on from family members, like my auntie, you know, makes you think, you know, a little bit differently about it. But you know, my dad's always going to be my dad, even though he's a piece of shit. But I'm glad he's made me the way I am. You know, I might be yeah. I just pull up to the school and park and then
Okay. You say you're glad he made you the man you are, but I'd dispute that and say, like, he's had no hand in this. Like, you've done everything. You've done this yourself. Like,
no, but you're wrong. You're wrong there.
How so?
You're wrong because, well, you know, for instance, he's made me the person I am today because I never want to be like him. I've learned everything from him, and that's easy. Don't be a piece of shit like him, and then you'll be okay. You know, and that's you know, thank you, Dad. I never want to be like you because you're a piece of shit, and now I'm a good person. You know, I don't, you know, trying to, you know, so that's why, that's when I say to you, I've learned everything from him because he's a piece of shit, even though I shouldn't laugh, but he's made me the strong, resilient person I am to endure pain, endure affliction. Enjoy suffering, and that's it. You know, come out on the other side. Like I said, God only puts someone as great as warriors to do these things. And this thing, like I told you, the lawsuit, man, it's taken a real toll on me. Like it's taken a real massive toll on me in my whole life. But it's done now. So you know, yeah.
What's I mean, it's probably hard to compare because, you know, they're very, very different things, and one's more recent. But yeah, what's been a harder battle, the recent legal battle or your childhood?
Well, like I said, the childhood I can block. I can if I don't remember it, it's never happened. The lawsuit's taken a toll because it's not just me involved. It's, you know, it's my family involved. You know, they're trolling my kids. You know, I mean, well, you know, they've been trolling me. Globally, you know, for doing the right thing. You know, they just, you know, their narrative on me, like I explained earlier, was a false narrative put on me by the UFC. But, you know, I know, you know, for a fact, I can tell you that Dana White and all his cohorts, Dana White et al., they know the landscape has changed, and the tidal waves, when it hammers them, they have serious problems. You know, his problem right now is finding a way to get to stay out of jail, which he will be going to jail, and the rest of his cohorts. These other factions that were part of this collusion, I just need to go and approach them. That's what I will do after this, is put something in front of them and say, you owe me this, otherwise I'm going to drag you through the courts. And there's that, but who I can tell you I'm going to drag through courts is my former law firm. Christina Denning and Brian Bosher, you motherfuckers, I'm going to drag you through court. There's no amount of money that I will take from you guys. That, you know, I'm going to take your licenses, and I'm going to take your life like you try to take my life.
Just back to your dad for 1 second. There's one thing which I'm trying to understand. So it was like awful childhood, just unimaginably awful childhood for you and your siblings. You and your brothers were subjected to regular and severe beatings and psychological torture, basically. Your sister was like raped repeatedly from a young age. When you got older and became a fighter and experienced success, you bought your parents a house. Now, which is like taking the high ground and being the better person. Why didn't you just come back and give them a hiding?
Well, like I said to you, man, I could have done that when I got out of jail when I was younger. I could have done a lot of those things, but like I said, I cope with these things, and I understand I blocked him up, but I knew a lot of the stuff was going on was wrong. Why I didn't hurt them or do them, because what I realized even then is that someone had done it to them. They're just repeating the same shit that happened to them. The difference with me is I'm the one that stopped it. I stopped that cycle of happening, and I'm proud of that. I realized for my kids, I stopped that cycle of abuse for it to continue. So with my kids, it's different. They never see that sort of shit. They never see affliction. They've never gone a day without in their lives. It's something, like I said, I've been brought up to be super resilient and super strong, through adversity. That's my account, to survive through these things and come out the other side, which makes me a strong man, a strong man. So what I don't like is what I'm doing with our kids is they will be not as strong as I am. I'm not going to say they're going to be weak, but I'm going to say they're not going to be as resilient as strong as I am, because they never had to go through these to endure any of these hardships.
Yeah.
Why? To answer your question, I don't know. Why did not hurt them? I don't know. I saw them. They're my family. You can pick and choose your friends. Your family, you can't. So like I said, after this, when I come back to New Zealand, I have to go and get my sister and my brother a house. I have to organize their endowment funds. There's a lot of things I have to do, and that's something that's not even a question. I don't question myself, and it's the same thing like buying them a house to stay. So that's for my outlook on that. I don't know, why I did that. I just, I can forgive someone, and that's what I've been able to do a lot is forgive people that have caused me harm. I'm glad I became a prize fighter, because if I stayed being a bad person, I would have got worse and worse and worse, and I would have probably been a real nightmare for society. I would have been a real nightmare for society, and I know that because I know the kind of person I am. And I'm glad that God put fighting in my life, not only to save my life, but to save a lot of other people's lives.
Yeah. Maybe part of it's because you've got this physical strength, and there's some power in knowing you've got it and not having to use it.
I don't think it's about the physical strength. I think it's about the limits of what I will do.
Yeah.
And like anything, if you're a person, a person that thinks he's crazy, that you only meet crazy until you meet crazy. And that's every person. There's a line you don't cross. Yeah. But for certain individuals, they just, that's why they end up in jail for murder and doing all this, because they don't give a. They just, they'll just continue and do these stupid things. Whereas people that have a conscience, like I have a conscience now, which I didn't have a kid, this is what happens. So, that's my thought process. That's how I think about these scenarios and why I felt I've dealt with them this way.
Yeah.
Whether it be wrong or right, that's just my perspective.
Yeah. Have you done quite a bit of therapy and work over the years?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the catalyst?
I've stopped. Sorry.
What was the catalyst for going to therapy? Like
the catalyst for going was exactly, what was happening to me. Like I had to before the breakup with my marriage, me dealing with issues like this, I had to go and. Because trauma comes for me was for a lot of other people comes from childhood trauma. So my jealousy and different things for my ex-wife that she had to endure because of the stuff that I endured as a kid. It's from childhood trauma. You've got to go and, for me to be honest, I'll sit with a counselor, and if I'm explaining all these things, she'll say to me, "There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. You know, absolutely nothing. Like I could be driving or something and I could turn on a dime. Someone cuts me off, I'm trying to kill him. You know, it'll be that stupid thing over something. And then speaking to her, she'll say, that's exactly how you're supposed to be for someone that's come through your life. You know, so how you deal with that is you go to counseling and help you, you know, recover and help you build yourself. And, you know, there's reasons why you're like the way you are. And that's childhood trauma. That's a lot of people that get into trouble is they haven't not dealt with their childhood trauma. You know, as a male, I think we start reflecting at the age of 40 on our past. But, you know, if we could all go to counseling, to speak to a counselor, it's way better for you. I mean, a lot of people, for me, when people say, only weak men go to counseling, man, it's weak men that don't go to counseling. It's weak men that don't go and look after themselves. Because if you can't look after your mental emotions, you know, and deal with situations like an adult man, that means you're like you're still, you know, you're a weak person. So a weak person that can't, you know, like I saw this guy, his name Stephen Setu. He's talking about dealing with emotions, and he says, guys these days, they're weak. They speak about this and that. Well, to me, he's kind of weak because, you know, there's nothing wrong with going to counseling to deal with issues like this. For me, he's weak because he says, I have to deal with this shit as a man. No, you're just weak.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's definite strength and vulnerability, and the more you know, physically empowering people like yourself talk about this, I think the better it is for everyone. It sort of sets the platform to know it's okay.
Well, I know if I didn't go to counseling and speak to someone, I would not be able to cope or deal with it. Like I said, things got real worse for me at the time I started seeing the counselor, and you know, everything that's come from these the childhood traumas is the way things, you know, that's what made me a fighter and do these sort of things, which is not good. So, you know, being able to cope with these certain things, I've been able to do with a counselor, which is really great. So, you know, I don't sit there and try to, you know, do something to people that do something to me, like stupid something with a on the road or something normal. You know, I sit there and, you know, and say, okay, maybe that person's wife is in the hospital. He's got to go. Maybe this, you can just let it go. Yeah, okay, yeah.
I love that.
One certain incident, you know, it's kind of funny. This, I think I said in another podcast, this guy, I was living in Newcastle and I just finished a counseling session and the guy was driving really erratic, and then I pulled up to him and I said, you know, I won the winner. And I said, bro, you know that driving could get you in a lot of trouble? And he goes, what the fuck? You didn't get. He started going off. And my first thought in my mind is, I'm going to get out and punch this fucking guy's teeth in. But you know, the next thought was, no, mister, you're not. You're going to say, okay, won the win up and just drive on. And that's exactly what I did. But, you know, the funny thing is, he messaged to my fan page later on saying, oh, man, I didn't know it was you. I'm really, you know, I apologize for being so rude.
Yeah, a couple of ones on your family. So your parents, were they proud of you at the end, do you think?
I think my mum probably was. My dad, he'll never be proud. He's always he's a judgmental person. That's, you know, I've never been good enough. You know, I was always one to hold them back. You know, when you become when you feel like a burden to your parents, and the thing I put it down to is like how I could cope with that is that no one educated them on how to do things with life. When struggles get hard, you don't just beat your fucking kids up. You know, you're going to do something about it. So, you know, you just don't, you know, it's probably that. So no one educated them about doing things the way properly. And a lot of Polynesians back in those days, they didn't speak on things like molestation, all these sort of things, which needs to be spoken on before it to be fixed. Yeah. Like finances and all this sort of bullshit, you know?
Yeah. Yes. So you ended up being incarcerated. From what I can gather, there were two stints. There's a stint in Waikeria and a little stint in the Rock, the old Mount Eden jail. So the first one was when you beat up a kid and took his Doc Martens. So at what sort of age?
Yeah.
Like 17, 18?
I think, yeah, because I went to, back then there was no youth and adult jails. It was just, you know, throw you in the toilet and that's it. Yeah, but the sad thing about the those guys is that they knew who we were. It's like we went to the same school. That's how dumb it is, you know. I mean, when I sit back and look at it, it's oh my gosh, you were just dumb. But you know, I wasn't just dumb. I didn't know. You know, I had no direction. There's a lot of things going on in my life. What I was sad about was I included my older brother, who actually went to jail also in the mounts, and he was studying to be an engineer, and he actually became an engineer. And that's what's sad for me is like he was incarcerated because of me. You know, and I shouldn't. People say, "Oh, he was incarcerated because he made his own choice." But you know, we were in a situation that was quite hard to try and deal with when we don't have. Like nowadays, we know about education, about trauma, and talking to someone about it, speaking about it, to enhancing and being a better person. Back then, there was none of that. There was just this guy's running around crazy. People didn't know he had schizophrenia.
Yeah, none. Yeah, I mean, none of you guys had it. Like the upbringing you had, this was always going to be the outcome. You know, you never really had a chance. So of course you were going to end up being an angry young man. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to justify your poor behaviour at that stage in your life, but it was like it was the only outcome there was ever going to be because you never had a chance.
Yeah, I mean, like that's exactly right. And when I look back at it now, I think, man, the only saving grace for me is finding that saved that God put in my life, because I started a cycle of going in the system of going to jail at a young age, and you know, nothing to fall back, none of this shit. I was just, it would have been the next cycle would have been, you know, they were already trying to, you know, get me to nom up with groups, you know, the mob, you know, doing these sort of things. And that would have been a repetition if I didn't leave in New Zealand. Yeah. You know, the last thing, when I came back when I came back from here to New Zealand, and I got into a trouble and I assaulted a police officer. You know, I went to court and the judge says to me, if I ever see you again here, I'm going to lock you up. You can be Australia's problem. And that, I should have laughed. And for me, when I think about that, I goes, man, fuck, you were just starting to be, you know, you're a piece of shit, but you're going to be a real piece of shit. But lucky, I thank God, like I said, I found my purpose in life. I find God put my purpose in my life, which was fighting. And, you know, I made a good life out of fighting for me and my family. And now, even better, to make a lot of other people's lives, a lot of athletes' lives that don't have to deal with doping sports people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So the stints in jail, did that make you go, fuck, this is not the life for me, never again? Or did you find it quite good in terms of, you know, the having food and structure and discipline? I actually liked jail. The second time was like, fuck, this is rubbish, you know, because it was a waste. Both times it was a waste of time. But the first time I went to Waikira, I liked it because, you know, there was structure in my life. I loved it because there was food. I became a dairy farmer, and I woke up at 3. I went to milk the cows. I met a lot of good people in there. They just, you know, what I learned from jail is you only get better as a criminal when you meet other criminals in jail. It's I knew there was a waste of time for me in the job being a young man. I said, this is just, you know, I love what I've learned here, but this is just a waste of my time. And were you cellmates with Taina Pora, or in the same wing as Taina Pora?
No. Taina Pora is someone that I met a long time ago in jail.
When
she was in jail. No, it was for the South Auckland rapist thing. Yeah, and I saw him on TV when I was doing a camp in New Zealand, and I said, "Fuck, I know that guy." And I said to my wife at the time, Jules, said, "Bro, I know there's a guy, you know, he just got 20 years jail, but the actual story is he actually done 20 years."
Yeah,
and then yep, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, he was wrongly convicted, and it was some dodgy police work. The whole thing was terrible, and he served an entire life sentence. He got like a lot of compensation, like a few $1 million. But what price can you put on the 20 best years of your life? You know what I mean?
Well, I did say to him, I was speaking to him, I said, man, that's, you know, when I heard it was only, you know, the number it was, I'm thinking, they can't pay you back for 20 years of your life. No. But what they do with law, I think, is especially in New Zealand, what they do is they try to put you in a class of what you would actually probably earn as to what your compensation would be. So you'd probably be doing a factory job and you'll be earning this. So we actually think you'll earn this much, for your life. But that's wrong, because how do you know what could happen to that person? He could do this, he could do this. Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, no one would have necessarily predicted that you'd go on to, make $500,000 a night, fighting. There's no way of knowing these things.
Only God knew what was going to be written. Like I explained to you, I never, and even though it hasn't been mandated yet, I never knew that I'd be one of the richest men in the world from this lawsuit. And I didn't think that from coming from the poorest kid in the classroom to about to be one of the wealthiest men in the world is kind of crazy to me. And for me, I know God knows my heart, and so does He know about my partner. So that we're giving people, and this is fun. I'm going to tell you something. Like a lot of the stuff I've told you is not that people will sit there, huh? Rich man, all the shit, they wouldn't even know. Like if I said to a lot of people, if I explained to you what actually happened, you wouldn't even believe me. If I told you what even happened, you wouldn't believe me. So, but what I'm telling you is absolutely going to be, before this even is mandated into law, I've already put out in endowments $930 million.
Wow.
Do you know what an endowment fund is?
No, what does that mean? Can you explain?
So when they say to you, let your money work harder for you, that's it's pretty much like a trust. An endowment is that. So it's the same thing like with what the bank doesn't tell you about their banking laws. An endowment fund at the lowest point starts at $500,000. That's the lowest endowment fund you can have. And a lot of these people wouldn't tell you about these kind of funds because they just don't want everyone to know, because if everyone knew, they'll be doing it. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you because I want everyone to know this. So an endowment fund, say for instance, say for instance, just make it up. I'm going to be getting, let's just say $1 million. Actually, let me just, okay. So if the lowest one's $500,000 at an 8% interest rate, every year you'll get a certain amount of money. Correct?
For $1 million, yeah, there'd be $80,000 a year in interest.
So let's say $40 billion, right?
Right.
A year, it's $3.6 billion US.
Yeah.
Correct? So what an endowment fund does is spits out at 8% every year, $3.6 billion. That's what an endowment fund is. Yeah. If the lowest is 500,000, and you can go, and like I said, at $40 billion, the interest rate each year is 3.6 billion US dollars. So you have to wait for it to sit in that for a year. And I think every June it spits out the interest on that fund. So as a beneficiary, you receive a certain amount of money. So you're receiving 3.6 billion a year for the rest of your life.
Wow.
So wrap that around your head. This is what rich people don't want you to know. So when you take it out from the fund, then you have to pay tax on that. It's like another source of income, like passive income. So, so that's, what are we talking about? We're talking so that's what an endowment fund is.
So when's this?
Hang on. How did we start talking about an endowment fund? What the fuck?
I don't know.
How the fuck do we get on talking about an endowment fund?
I don't know. There's been all sorts of threads and conversations in here today that I wasn't expecting. It's a chaotic podcast, and I'm loving it. I'm here for it. What advice?
But I want to know, how do we get from that to talking about an endowment fund?
I don't know. We were talking about Taina Pora and his compensation, and then somehow we got onto that.
We were talking about money. Okay, so that's how I started talking about endowment funds. So that's how if all you people that are going to listen to this, what I'm trying to tell you people is, if you don't want to ever work ever again in your life, you put your money into an endowment fund at a low interest rate. If you can get higher at a percentage of 8% each year, that's how you can help yourself from never having to work again. So it's like residual income, another income. So yeah.
Yeah. The last thing I was expecting in this podcast today was financial advice.
I know. We're talking about money. It's like,
Yeah. Do you have any vices these days? In your book, you talk about, your gambling addiction and your meth addiction. What are your vices these days?
Hey, hang on. Gambling addiction I did have.
Yeah.
Long ago. I've stopped doing all that because like I said, I had to go through all these lawsuits. Now I was broke. I'm still broke now. Just about things are about to change dramatically. Meth addiction I did not have. I smoked, and to be honest with you, I don't know why people get addicted to their stuff. When I had that one New Year's Eve, I had it. I've done it 3 or 4 times, but when I did do that, I was like, man, it just makes you feel like you've had 8 hours sleep. I was in South Auckland when I did that on a New Year's Eve night. But I don't condone that. That was one of my mistakes, and that's it. Meth is it's a killer of communities. It's fucking rubbish, like every other drug. And it's not a positive thing to do, not at all, especially for your family, your community, and yourself.
So, what was the story with meth in your book? You bought like $20,000 worth and had it in a weekend?
Well, what happened was, I had a friend who was dealing. I bought, I said, look, I don't know what I was thinking. There was no, I had no guidance. I was like, I'd buy $60,000 of meth, and then I said, can you, triple that in how long? He goes, yeah. In the end of the day, we ended up just sitting there smoking a whole lot of meth ourselves, which is kind of dumb, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we fucking drug dealers. We're sitting here smoking our own shit. You know what they say? Don't get high in your own supply. So, I had no fucking clue what I was up to. I was just, with my mate, like, he was a dealer, and I was sitting there going, fuck. It's just one of those stupid ideas. And I just, I don't know. I'm glad it ended up being the way it was. We just ended up sitting there smoking a little meth, and that's it, talking a whole lot of bullshit, because that's what it does. And then I just stopped it. I said, one day I said, fuck, that's just the dumbest thing I've done. Fuck. One of the dumbest things.
Yeah. Oh, you're lucky. Eh? And what about the gambling? Was it horses and dogs, or just slots? Or
in Australia, there's probably like now in New Zealand, there's poker machines. Like I spent a lot, like 3 days or 4 days in that casino in New Zealand gambling. Like in New Zealand, like poker machines, like in New Zealand, you can only put $20 at a time in. In Australia, you can put $100 a note at a time. So I remember in New Zealand, I went with $20,000 one day. I sat in one machine, spent it all. Gambling is not good for anything. It's like any drug. It'll pull down every community. So like I think Sydney is like, I think everyone around here puts in billions of dollars. Bro, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
What would your message?
Okay, so I stopped that. A long time ago, and I just, I found out it was, I said to myself, this is rubbish. What you're doing, you're lying, and not only that, I was broke. So I'm glad. It's been like 4 years or 5 years. I can go to any sort of place now. I sit there and goes, oh yeah, I'll probably spend $500 or $1,000, and that's it, or even not even do that. I sit in the rooms and not even gamble anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think it was at that time? Do you think it was just sort of easy come, easy go, like you're making good money, so you don't mind spending heaps, or what is it?
I think it's time. What you do with yourself and your time. If you, and I had time and money, but all I felt like good was doing was just going there and gambling away money, a waste of money. And for me, I like suiting gambles, like there's 4 chances of getting the right suit. That's all I did. Sat there and got the $1,000, 5,000, gamble. You look like a fucking idiot. But I realized that was an issue, and I'm glad I stopped that. Like I said, now I'm about to come into a lot of become wealthy. I can go do a whole lot of gambling. But for me, I'm like, there's other things like I want to do and will do. Not sitting there gambling away, spending hours in a gambling parlor or any pub, because like I said, it went from playing gaming all day to gambling all day.
Yeah. And
then when I had to go training, it was, nah, I'm tired, I'm sick. We know where you are, Mark. Shut up. You're fucking playing that shit again. I don't give a fuck. Get out of here, cunt.
Well, what would your message be? Hey, by the way, can I just say, when you've got your glasses on, you look, I reckon, like 20% less intimidating.
No, because as I'm an old man now, I have to wear glasses, and I didn't realize I've been driving around for years though. At night I'm going, bro, I can't even see. Is that And I thought, look, it's just night time, and then my missus goes, bro, she goes, you know what, Mark, come with me. I'll go put these glasses. And when I put the glasses on, I was like, holy shit, I can see everything now, because I had no problem with my vision, bro. But it took a while. But I have myopia. So in my family we have myopia. So that's short-sightedness. So when I drive, I have to put glasses. I can see everything. When I'm looking at my phone or close, I don't have to have glasses. So when I look at you, I don't have glasses.
Yeah. So you and I are a similar age. I'm on the plus ones now. I bought a pair of plus ones from the supermarket. What are yours? Do you know what yours are? Do you know they would have had a little sticker on when you bought them? Are they plus one, plus two? Do you know what they are?
I don't know. I don't know. I just got them, and I knew it made my vision better.
Oh yeah, it's an absolute game changer, eh?
Okay.
What would for anyone that's listening to this or watching this now that's maybe like currently dealing with some addiction issues of their own, whether it's like meth or gambling or whatever, like what would your message be to them?
Well, to be honest, it's probably childhood trauma that you have to deal with. Go to a counselor. Talk to someone, your friends, family, whoever about it. It could be so many different things, but for myself, in my situation, it was childhood trauma and dealing with the situation I had all these issues. So I think for those people that are watching this, seek help, speak to someone. Don't be like that idiot Stephen said to you and internalize it. Go seek help, because it doesn't mean you're weak if you go and seek help, because at the end of the day, if you don't go and do that help, you're not going to help everyone else. You're going to be a problem to everyone else. And if I didn't see a counselor for my issues, I'd probably still be, going to do gambling shit. I'd be going to do the wrong shit, thinking, have a jealous mind for different, for my partner. But I've completely changed the way I view and do things with a partner and different situations in life. So, please seek help if you need help, because if you're trying to internalize it, there's a reason why people go crazy, like my brother Steve did, or there's a reason why my brother John killed himself, because they try to internalize certain things like this that you can't deal with, that you have to have help with. Well, that's just my opinion.
Oh no, I like that. Do you know who Zach Guilford is? Former All Black. Zach Guilford. He played for the All Blacks. He was in the World Cup winning team in 2011, but he ended up he had major gambling problems and drug issues, and I've had him on the podcast a couple of times, and he's got a saying from therapy which I really like: secrets make you sick. And I think it's a good one, and the best thing you can do is you get the stuff out and talk about it. Yeah. Hey, fuck, you've done a lot of work, bro? I can tell.
Well, I'm still just a fat ass right now, but I'm actually going to work on myself when I start, when I start training again. It'll be I'll be a better version of myself, and always trying to improve myself, which is good. So that's a positive for me and those around me in my community, because a positive me, especially with the kind of work I'll be doing to help others, is going to be a great thing. So, you'll see that in the future as we go through this, as when I come over to NZ and do these things. So it'll be great.
Yeah. When are you coming back to NZ? It'd be great to connect with you in studio and have another podcast another time in person.
So yeah, I'm just like I said, I've got to go to Italy. The first thing I'll be doing when this case is mandated is buying me a jet, and then I'll be going to take a few people that I have a few things to do with. I've got to go to Italy for the bare knuckle fights. Then I've got to go to Hawaii and meet my auntie for the first time with my other auntie. And then I'm going to stop in Samoa to start the process with this bank. And then I'm going to come to New Zealand, and or even might be vice versa, because I have to sort out my sister and my brother for housing and their living situation. Set the endowments up. Oh, that's how we got to talking about endowments. So when I come to NZ, I'll be setting up the endowments for my sister and my brother. From New Zealand. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, how is your sister now? Is she all right?
Well, she's a lot better now that I've told her I'm going to come and sort her out.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. A couple of little ones to finish with. What do you think your best and worst qualities are?
My best qualities are that I'm a lion for those that I represent. I can do anything for the underdog. You know, I hate bullies. 100%. I'll do anything to stand up for whoever it is. You know, and one of my best qualities is my honesty, which is also probably a double-edged sword. Is one of my worst qualities too, because you know, as a double-edged sword, it puts me in that trouble. You know, that's and it's not a good thing to actually be as open and honest as I am, like I've been open and honest with you, because that also puts me in harm's way. But for me, my honesty has also been a quality of my life that's made me the person I can speak to without any regrets, without any sitting here looking over my shoulder, having to worry about any others. Because what I speak to you and what I say to you is from the truth, from my heart, from what my understanding is, from all the cable, from all the cards out on my table. And you can only make a full judgment on anything that you look at with all the cards in front of you. You know, if all those cards are in front of you, you can't make a proper judgment on whatever it is you're looking at.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you need to know all the information. What about regrets? Any regrets?
Well, the only regret I have is not spending more time with my kids, which I'm about to rectify. But, you know, in saying that, like I said, I've had to battle lawsuits. I've had to go and work and get punched in the face for a living. I've had to do so many things. So I've missed out a lot of my family, my kids growing up. You know, 100% missed out on Caleb and Charlotte's growing up. But what I don't want to do, my youngest is 10 now, and my boy Noah is 17. So what I'm trying to do now is like I said, I just finished the battle that I need to finish. I'm about to move back to Sydney and put down all these endowments like I've just explained to you, and move on with life. So, you know, like already I've helped the people that are close to me, whether they've done wrong to me or not. I've forgiven them and said, look, you might have done wrong with me here, but here, let me help you out with your life so you don't have to ever work again. So I've helped all my friends, my family, my trainers, former trainers with life, so they don't have to work again. They've just got to understand the process of how endowment works. So they don't have to worry about, you know, getting up on a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much so I've got a lot of philanthropy to do with my partner, you know, moving forward.
Yeah. Speaking of your kids, I heard a story that you told on a podcast about one of your daughters. This is after your Paul Gallen fight. Paul Gallen, former league guy who you had a fight with, and I think you were undertrained and you got beaten. And one of her friends went up to her and said, your dad got beaten by Paul Gallen. And your daughter said something like, well, your dad works at a fucking supermarket. Is that the daughter?
There's nothing wrong.
Is that the daughter you're picking up?
Yes. But the thing is not that there's nothing wrong with working in a supermarket. Is that she was getting trolled by that girl, and you know, my girls are strong girls. They're outgoing girls, and you know, you say something wrong to them, just they'll tell you how it is, and that's basically how it is. She just said exactly that. The guy's like.
Yeah. Well, that definitely sounds like she's definitely got your genes when it comes to trolling.
Well, that's for damn sure. And like I said, I can't speak to her out of line, otherwise she puts me in my place.
Yeah.
And she's 13. Well, you know, my 13, my girl Sierra, she's like she's taller than me now. She's 13, but all the girls have got attitude, and they've got good traits and they've got bad traits. The bad traits is they all argue over fucking nothing, like air, you know, and the good traits is that I've, you know, what Julie and I have tried to instill the kids is being confident and knowing you're worthy. You know, unlike me growing up as a kid, you know, I was unwanted. You know.
Yeah, and if they end up with a sense of fairness or a sense of fighting for what's right, like you do, then they'll be great kids. If they were here now, like what sort of words would they use to describe you?
They'd probably tell me to shut up. To be honest, and you know, I think you know what I've gathered from my girlfriend Flo. She's like, I know my kids adore me. You know, I know but they don't understand the full situation of how our life has been for the last 5 years or 10 years or 7 years since I finished working for the UFC, or what has happened along the way to where we are today. But I know 100% that they know that I've got their back, and so does Mum have their back, and we are doing this for the right reasons. We've done this for the right reasons. I know they had to come along on this waka, where they hadn't have a choice. But I know that with everything, God has got is the front of us, all of us.
Yeah. You're quite you've mentioned God a few times. Are you still quite a religious man?
I believe in God. I don't have to go to church to believe in God.
Yeah.
I believe I can, pastor this way. And for me, I'm far from being perfect, but I know that the Creator, there's no way in the world that this lawsuit would ever have been won if I didn't get on my knees and ask the Almighty God for assistance and help. And I said, and when I did ask Him for that assistance and help, it came 2 weeks later. And that's when I told you what happened, how this whole thing turned around. So, with everything, like I said, I don't give a fuck about money. Like I just told you, I'm about to be one of the wealthiest men in the fucking world. And I couldn't give a fuck. I've already just endowed $930 million, and I don't even have it yet. But that's the thing, though. I don't even have it yet. The thing is, I know it's coming, but I've endowed it already to people like, I've set up probably 300-400 people that don't have to work ever again. And that's the craziest thing. Now, why would I do that? And I do that because I have faith. I know what I know, and I know what I've seen. I know all the cards on the table, and that's what's happened. So, the world's like probably a month behind everything that I'm talking about. And if you release this now, they're probably going to go, wow. And but if you release this after the judges mandate this into law, the Hunt precedent, they're going to go, wow. But I reckon it'll be a cool thing if you release it, early, because if they read this and watch it, go, what the fuck is he on about? I think this motherfucker's bonkers. Yeah. He has got CTE.
In terms
but trust me, a fucking like I said, the poorest kid in the classroom, a young New Zealander, has changed all contact sports. He's become one of the wealthiest men in the world. Changed all contact sports. From where? Where did I come from? And that's the second book. It's going to be called The Hunt Precedent.
That's an incredible story. Oh, in terms of like legacy in the sport, how do you care about legacy? Like, how do you want to be remembered in the sport for what your contribution is?
I don't give a fuck about it. All they talk about is, they talk about me now is you're fucking this, you're this. Shut up. I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. Fuck. Legacy, though, like I said, I've done all what I need to do. Fucking stick your legacy up your ass. That's all I can say. Fuck. I'm not interested. What I've done is proven. Like I just explained to you what I've done, and that'll be mandated into law, and that'll show the 100%. That is my legacy right there for you guys. And I don't care how you take it, whether granted you take it how you want it. It's been done already. So, whether you like it or not, I don't give a fuck. Stick it up your fucking ass. It makes no difference to me. I don't care.
And last one, are you proud of yourself, Mark Hunt?
I actually am. I'm proud of the man I've become. Not, only God could have done something like this. He's used me as the person to do this. Used me and my partner to do this. I'm glad I've enjoyed that, but I'm glad the man I've become through this process. And not only that, I'm proud of the man I'm gonna become, like through philanthropy and helping others. Like I've just explained, through this philanthropy, you can help so many other people. And if you're making, $6.6 billion a year for doing nothing, US dollars, for the rest of your life, you can continue to help others. And that'll be my legacy is helping others get through life properly. So we've got a lot of things in the pipelines. Like we're about to go to Paris and help this sanctuary for lions and tigers move to a different country altogether. So, there's a lot of things in the pipelines that we're going to do. I was looking at, a man named David Lettelli in New Zealand. He's doing a lot of good things for the community.
Yeah.
I did reach out to him a while ago, but I think we asked him, we asked him about how he does his business and if he can explain to us how we can replicate his business everywhere. Well, what I was trying to say to that man is what he didn't do was come back with how he does things. So I know he got his funding taken away, but like I said, what I was trying to tell him was, how can we replicate his business globally? So instead of starting a new project there, why not help others, fund others that are doing it already?
Yeah.
So one of my first things was going to go and sit down also with that man and speak about this, the funding for him. So when you put an endowment down for his cause, it never runs out of money, because with an endowment, it continues on forever.
Yes, you can just live off the interest or let it compound and make even more money. There you
go.
Dave Lettelli and BBM Brown Bean Butterbean Motivation. He does a phenomenal job in Auckland.
So that's exactly why I know about that, because like I said, my partner and her iwi from down in down the south there, her iwi, when they got the funding from the Great Britain, that money they got was, I think, ended up being $280 something million or whatever. So they endowed that money, and then it just kept compounding until what it pays them now, which is in the billions, to help everybody. So that's pretty much, you can actually do an endowment fund for everybody, for anything. Yeah.
Hey, this has been a lot of fun today. How's it been for you? Is it
I know you've had a great laugh at my expense, so it's all good. I don't mind that. It's great.
No, I haven't. I mean, there's parts of your story that there's just like it couldn't be further from comedy at all. It's just fucking sad, to be frank. But the way you talk about some other aspects of your life, it's you're a very funny speaker.
Well, I just speak the truth.
Yeah.
Where however you take it is however you take it. And like I said, I've done a few other podcasts that they said the audio is not good. For whatever reason, if you don't, like I said, it's any day now that the Ninth Circuit will mandate the hunt preaching into law, and things will change. But everything I've spoken to you is from what I've seen and what I can see from the table I'm watching. So everything I will do, what I've told you already. So you've got a lot of insight into what has happened in the past in my life and what's going to be in the future for my life and others. So
yeah. Well, I hope the rest of your life is is happy, successful, and rewarding.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I hope I hope next time you're back in New Zealand we get to meet in person as well, because I'm a big fan. It's been nice to see you on the screen today. Even if we went on a road trip together and I was looking at the light on the roof of your car for a bit.
Well, yeah, sorry, but like I said, I had to come and get a parking outside of school before, and they finished early today, so it's a good thing. Like I said, I'll be over in NZ. Might be before I go to Italy, or it might be at the end of my journey before I start training for September.
Yeah, well, let's keep in touch, because it'd be good to do this again. So I sent you a DM on Instagram saying, "Do you want to do a podcast?" You flicked me back your number, and then boom, we were on.
Yes, sir.
I love it. All right,
that's how we work, straight up.
Hey, Mark Hunt, you're a great New Zealander and a great Samoan, and I can't thank you enough for your time today, being on my podcast.
Appreciate the time, and thank you, Don, for having me on your podcast. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope a lot of your viewers enjoy what I've been speaking about, and hope they have learned something.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. All right, mate. Take care, eh?
All right. Thanks for your time. See you, bud.